Everyone has a deep connection with the place they call home. Celebrating the Chinese New Year means returning home and leaving homesickness and worries behind for a family reunion. The holiday dinner overflows with the flavours of home. The ideal menu is always the most traditional. The dishes served for the holiday dinner reflect the Chinese people's dependence on nature, their pursuit of fine flavours, and their fond memories of the departed. Since ancient times, Chinese people have placed great importance on the family gathering on the last day of the lunar year. Chicken and fish are considered auspicious because their Chinese pronunciations sound like luck and surplus respectively. Family members and close relatives sit down together at the happy gathering to enjoy a sumptuous dinner. Chinese New Year's Day is a day for family gatherings. The smoke coming from chimneys in the countryside is a signal guiding people returning home. The Chinese New Year's Eve dinner is the most important family dinner of the year, so the cook must be the most skilled in the family. Jia Aixin has never cooked the holiday dinner herself, but she's been watching others prepare it since her childhood, and she's been practicing since the summer vacation. Aixin's grandpa is her teacher. Although he's over 90, he's still strong enough to look after his ailing wife and collect firewood in the mountains. The firewood gathered in the summer is generally enough to last the whole winter. Aixin's parents are working far from home, so their sheep are being tended by her uncle 15 kilometres away. After the sheep is slaughtered, the carcass is cut into smaller pieces at the joints. These are then placed in a pot of cold water and boiled over a roaring fire. Golos is the only Mongolian autonomous county in Jilin province. 1 year ago, Aishin was enrolled in the middle school in the county town. Bao Gawa and her husband Jiayan have decided that Bao should find a job while Jiayan stays with Aishin. As the water boils, the bubbles release the heavy aroma of the mutton. Just a glance at the broth warms the soul. At nightfall, Aishin learns that her mother is approaching the village. Mother and daughter are reunited after a year apart. Gawa has been on a train from Guangzhou for several days carrying a suitcase filled with presents for her family. But she's so glad to be home for the family dinner that she no longer feels tired. Mother and daughter haven't seen each other for a year, so they have a lot to catch up on. Her mother has had a long trip, but Aishin can't wait for her to taste the food she's prepared. Before the holiday dinner, Aishin's grandpa and other male family members light a bonfire outside to pay respect to their ancestors. The men in the family burn food and liquor in the fire and ask their ancestors for their blessings and protection. When Grandpa and the other men finish the ceremony, Aishin takes the mutton out of the pot and puts it on a dish before placing it on the table. To the Chinese, the meal is full of symbolic significance. Taking the sheep's head out first means starting from the beginning. Eating mutton with their hands on the eve of the Chinese New Year is a Mongolian tradition. The holiday dinner is a gift from Aishin to her mother. With a kind smile in her eyes, Aishin's grandma enjoys the cheese and liquor. The Chinese New Year's Eve dinner is the most important of the year. Everyone in the family looks forward to the occasion to share their warmth and love with the others. People in northeast China believe in simple cuisine. They drink from large bowls and enjoy eating large chunks of meat. They serve food in large quantities and in great variety. In Yichuan Heilongjiang province, the mountains are high and the forests are dense. The fresh air, wild vegetables and berries are ideal for raising wild pigs. Everything comes to life again in early April. Wild onions put out new shoots and the delicate fragrance of pear blossoms fills the air. Li Weiqian is busy preserving vegetables for the coming winter.
哎，这长得好哎，长这块了。
Wild mountain vegetables are tasty and nutritious. Li Weiqian first blanches the wild celery, wild green onions and other wild vegetables, then chills them in cold water before storing them in the freezer. By the end of September, leaves begin to fall. Fruit growing on Mount Wuhua is now ripe, and the fruit here can make good liquor.
山里特别少，没有多少人能采到这个东西。山梨酱酒的味儿非常非常好。
This is the wine that Li Weiqian has specially prepared for the coming holiday dinner.
这边分2个人，完了这面呢从这块再上去，这样呢咱们给他们圈一下子，铺上这，是不是？扣上咱就铺上。 把刀给我取来。
In cooking the wild pig from the mountain, Li Weiqian sticks to the most traditional ingredients and cooking method.
大姐，刚才不行打好几次电话了，给我都炖好了，就等咱俩回去呢。
这回回去得多带点了，上回来咱没吃够，这回回去多带点。
Li Weiqian's brother and sister have travelled back from distant Sanya for this reunion.
熟悉，太熟悉了，我都多大岁数了，都使过去的了。
The delicious wild vegetables and the rich aroma of wild game accompany the family's pleasant conversation and fellowship. The exotic flavor of the wild pig helps dispel the cold.
过年了。
小仙岭这个山里头这个野山梨酿的酒。
This bright and warm evening comes alive with the holiday celebration. The strong and exotic flavor is based on wisdom that's been passed down for generations. In the cold north of China, people prefer heavier flavors. For this dish, Chinese cabbage is blanched and then cooled in tap water. The bottom of the vat is layered with cabbage and then covered in salt before another layer is added until the vat is full. In a month, the pickled cabbage will be ready to sustain people through the long winter. The famous pickled Chinese cabbage of northeast China is also a popular part of the holiday dinner. Ordinary cabbage can also be used to make this dish. Nina and her mother are making Russian-styled pickled vegetables by shredding cabbage and carrots to put in the vat. Then, anise and salt are added. The first phase of fermentation takes 7 days.
这都出味儿了。
The cabbage is then moved outdoors to ferment further in the low temperature. This is done to ensure it retains the protein, inorganic salts, and vitamins. Potatoes are added to make a Russian-style soup, a common dish among ethnic Russians for their holiday dinner. This delicacy can be stored a long time, so people can enjoy it in winter when fresh produce is scarce. Nina lives in the village of Linjiang. It's close to the winding Arguin River, and it's just 1 kilometer away from a Russian village. Nina and her husband Li Dejuan have always been busy with farm work during the near decade when her son has been away at school. So they haven't had the time to look after their son. It's Nina's homemade Russian-style bread that motivates the boy to study hard.
把那个小黄瓜的板给我拿来，刮着擀不上行。
A unique type of oven is needed to bake this kind of bread. The bread comes out of the oven golden brown. It's the most common food in a Russian family, and it substitutes for dumplings during the Chinese New Year dinner. Lee Do-jun gets paid at the end of the year. His wages comprise the family's main source of income.
今年开这点工资，年年够儿子上大学、姑娘上学用的吗？啊？
这叫都为他们弄的。
Their son, Lee Shikun, left home for a boarding school in Argun, 170 kilometers from home, at the age of 5. After the Chinese New Year, he will start his last term of high school. The pressures of school life are such that he's unable to return home until a few days before the New Year. Their daughter, Chi-Chi, is old enough for kindergarten, but there's no kindergarten in their village.
你看这是谁？哥哥。
琪琪。
这回能待几天？
放了10天假。
开学的学费给你预备好了，走的时候可以拿着走了。
行。
A Russian-style log house provides protection for the family.
儿子明年高考，这次回来肯定会做一些他比较爱吃的菜。
The menu for the family's holiday dinner has already been set by Nina and her mother. The main ingredients are the most common in the area: potatoes and cabbage. For one dish, beef is minced before seasonings and starch are added. This famous Russian dish also contains potato wedges. Another version is made by mixing the minced meat with rice and seasonings. It is then steamed in a pot, releasing a wonderful fragrance. The staple food for the holiday dinner is the large Russian-style bread. The children are eager to taste their mother's handiwork.
生我姑娘那会儿啊，我儿子瞅着她第一眼就跟我说呀：“妈妈，你可不要像没照顾我那样的不照顾我妹妹呀，让她好好的长大。”慢慢的，我 没事，一会儿把那个鱼整一整。
Nina's mother is good at making Russian food. She can make a great meal from just a few winter vegetables. Li Dujun, her husband, is a Han Chinese, so their holiday dinner is a mixture of Chinese and Russian cuisines. Nina decides to drop what she was working on after the holiday to accompany Chi-Chi and Shukun to Arguin City, 170 kilometers away.
你家里活儿没事儿，你们放心去就行，都能干了。你们到时候放心就行。
行，回去把他俩照顾得好好的。
正好我这也不同事了，也可能去。
行，两个一起陪，都陪。将来我们也考好的大学，好不好？像哥哥似的。好，真乖。新年好呀，新年好呀。
Working away from home is something their parents do to ensure a better future for their children. Although common winter vegetables are indispensable in people's diet, improved material conditions mean that fresh vegetables are available year-round. Hunchun in Jilin province is situated where the borders of China, Russia and North Korea meet. Thanks to the wind, the smell of the sea is never far away.
挺不错，今天个扇贝挺大。
Every day, imported seafood pours in from Zhuanhe port, which is feeling the holiday spirit in the midst of the usual bustle.
这是瞌睡的吧？你看这个到这个酒店吧，不用过来。
Thanks to modern transportation, it's now possible for families to put fresh food on their table during the Chinese New Year.
"天天是受伤的，每天都要受伤。上到上海，我过春节马上给我送新菜品。打包打习惯以后吧，你看别人打包的时候吧，你都想上去帮两下忙。
Formerly, nearly everyone spent the holiday at home, but now people have more choices. Many people living in the lower reaches of the Yangtze River go to temples during the holiday to burn incense and pray to Buddha for good luck. Some families also go to a restaurant for their family dinner. Hunchun is 2,400 kilometers from Tongxiang, Zhejiang province. This poses a big challenge for retaining the freshness of the seafood. This match of seafood will soon end up on holiday tables in southern China.
第一次坐飞机，飞机上的免费餐不敢吃，怕要钱。我当时觉得吧，有钱给媳妇儿孩子带点啥。
Crab is a valuable food source. Some people say that a plate of crabs is equal to a table of food. Holiday dinner preparations begin in the kitchen. Hunchun crabs are particularly tasty. Simply steaming and adding some minced garlic retains the fresh flavour of the crab meat. People in southern China also enjoy mitten crabs from Hunchun with the strong fragrance of curry. The pervasive aroma of the cooked crabs on the table signifies a good harvest in the coming year. Parents and older relatives give New Year money to the children. The whole family stays up together to greet the new lunar year. Zhang Le began working as a teenager. He knows that industry is the source of fortune and honesty crucial to a long-lived business.
深海的，
这个大家伙好啊！你有多货？
长期供应可没问题的这个。
到过年了，你也挺不容易，这些货我都要了。
哎呀，谢谢你，谢谢你。
你也该早点回家过年去了啊。
The great distance between Shanghai and Hunchuan is no barrier to a family reunion. After sending out the last merchandise, Zhang Le is anxious to return home to his waiting family.
我一开始做海鲜生意，就是因为媳妇爱吃海鲜，没想到越做越好，审美顾不上。现在觉得亏欠家人和孩子。
Zhang Le's wife, Song Jiaxin, has prepared a home-cooked holiday dinner. The main course will be the crab legs that broke off during transportation. Zhang Le will fry them when he gets home.
没有着急，不着急。好的，慢点，注意安全啊。
Zhang Le's parents died long ago, so for years he spent Chinese New Year alone. He once again discovered the significance of family reunions after he got married.
做水产的时候，海鲜嘛，这腿掉的比较多，所以说是扔了怪可惜的。后期我们就做成菜了。
A happy family is a treasure. There's nothing people love more than a happy family reunion. People have a deep attachment to the Chinese New Year and what it means for families. The 12th month of the lunar year marks the beginning of the egg-laying season for fish in the Yalu River. Tang Yongjiang and his family are removing roe. To ensure the shortest possible exposure to air for the fish eggs, they pick out the best eggs and put them into a fish pond. In just 7 days, minnows can be seen swimming in the water. Tang Yongjiang and his family work at it for hours a day. Suddenly, the Chinese New Year is upon them. As the Chinese New Year approaches, the normally tranquil mountain comes to life. Fishmongers are seen everywhere. Fish dishes are now standard fare for the holiday dinner. Many people come here to buy fish because of Tang's good reputation.
那个大的没有了，有小的了，现在啊，大的没多了，现在小的没有了。刺激来词儿搁底下看看，你瞅瞅看看啊，看看那个啊，你看看那个，三千剩那个。
His wife and son have come home from a city several hundred kilometers away for a holiday dinner with Tang Yongjiang.
就是你看着他吧，应该特别心酸，到现在始终都自己。
我进屋做饭了啊。
进屋了吧？
It's been a year since they were last together. The family has engaged in fish farming in this former wasteland since they converted it 7 years ago. Tang Yongjiang now raises hundreds of thousands of fish.
我来的时候吧，一根白发没有。我来的时候，一根都没有。
The mountain spring water circulating underground is a constant 9 to 12 degrees Celsius. This is a good temperature range for raising rainbow trout, golden trout, Chinese sturgeon, and huqiu taimen. Mr. Wang fishes in the Yalu River. He sells his fish directly to Tang Yongjiang to use as bait for cold water fish. There wasn't much rain this year, so large areas of the bank are exposed to the air. This worries Tang Yongjiang.
老王，鱼看有点小，想长一长，先干点别的，暂且别着急。
In doing business, the Tang family has always respected nature and her laws. The family's matriarch is over 80, but she still tends the beehives left by Tang's father. After Tang's father died, his mother brought the beehives with her when she came with Tang to the fish hatchery. The mother and son have been running the business ever since. They've attracted many of their customers via word of mouth, as they've done for generations. Even the most frugal people will spend money buying fish for an important family dinner to bring the family good fortune. As the last customers leave, the holiday has finally arrived for the Tang family. The matriarch of the family always cooks the holiday dinner, even though she's over 80 years old. Stewed fish and candied sweet potatoes are important dishes at their holiday dinner. Stewing the fish in an iron wok ensures that the fish will taste great. The daughters-in-law urge the other family members to sit down. Tang Yongjiang's mother is already sitting at the head of the dinner table.
哎呀，高兴得了不得！他盼的也是盼着春节，儿女们围在身边。老爷的概念是什么？儿孙满堂嘛。
Hejia village is surrounded by mountains, and the only road to a nearby market is 10 kilometers away. Zhang Tong's family has lived here for generations.
今儿还行，今儿还不冷。那些年赶车二大边打担架桥啊，我要打两下总能打一个了呀，就单个的。现在小鸡都打不住了。
Dried vegetables have been front and center on the holiday dinner table for decades in this village. When times were hard, dried vegetables were the only vegetables available in winter. As the Chinese New Year approaches, the town comes to life. The street market is an important part of people's daily life here. Zhang Baoshan, who is over 60, has been visiting this street market for years. The last street market before the Chinese New Year is especially important for Zhang. He trades the family's surplus dried vegetables for daily necessities. Ma Shufeng blanches the fiddlehead she picked in early spring and then puts them in the shade to dry.
别搁太阳底下晒，一晒就发黄了。搁那个阴凉地上让它干了，完了搅润儿一泡完像新鲜韭菜一样，可好了。
When it's cooked, the air-dried fiddlehead is fresh and green. Summer vegetables such as green beans, eggplant and peppers are all air-dried.
过去人们没有办法解决冬天的这个菜的问题，完了就是发明了晒干菜。
21岁结婚，一到晒到这些年，
晒一辈子菜。
Autumn is a good time to make dried potato and cucumber slices. Though fresh vegetables are now available in winter, dried vegetables have their own appeal.
这活了可得功夫了。
Cucumber slices are first mixed with plant ash. The potassium and calcium in the ash promote photosynthesis and preserve the green colour. Drying the vegetables is not easy. It requires experience to choose the right angle of sunlight and preservation method.
吃好了，吃胖了，过年好干活。这真挺看耐造的。嘴巴都白了。
爷，我回来了。
啊，回来了。
啊。
回来了。
哪去了爷？
搬这年纪来了，买好多吃的了。
买点啥呀都？
鱼，
我给你往回拿啊！
还有好东西，
拿去等着你们。
我叫稻华呀，这生菜卖的好不？还行。我奶呢？
就过年吧，蒸饺子就用的菠萝叶，可清香味儿了。
This is the first year Zhang Tong's wife comes home for the Chinese New Year. Zhang's grandmother and mother have been busy preparing a holiday dinner featuring items unavailable in town. The dried vegetables gradually expand as they soak in water. The holiday dinner, seemingly simple but rich in meaning, is now ready.
今天过年了，给你们做点这个传统菜，让你们也忆苦思甜。这么多年就是吃这个菜长大的啊，别忘了过去。
我孙媳妇今头一个过新年，那高高兴兴的多吃点家常便菜，比那个市里那个大鱼大肉有滋味有味道。谢谢啊！
这切饼干老好吃了。
This holiday dinner, prominently featuring dried vegetables, is an old tradition that's finding new life with the children.
按明白了，完你们再拿回点，这都是绿色食品，回家吃个新鲜。
Zhang Tong and his wife have settled in Changchun where they work. According to an old tradition, they must not leave their new home empty during their first Chinese New Year after marriage. The newlyweds have to rush back home before the stroke of midnight. People in northeast China harvest different things directly from nature and from agriculture, and they're fully evident during the holiday. The skills handed down for generations are not only a reminder of the past, but more importantly, represent a spirit passed down through the family. People's expectations and feelings for their hometown and relatives are all evident during the holiday. The end of the lunar year brings a close to months of frenetic activity. The family reunion dinner is relaxing and creates a sense of warmth.